I am joined by NBC10 political commentator
Sue
real. O'Connell. She is real. It is not a deep fake. It is actually Sue. Let's talk about New Hampshire for a second. Sue, Governor Chris Sununu supporting a man who he once called a loser very publicly. Of course, we're talking about Donald Trump. He penned an op-ed in the Globe today laying out his reasons why. He's been all over TV talking about it. But in the final paragraphs, he sort of pivots to a bigger message. The governor writes, quote, "We should be confident that the sun will come up on November 6th and on January 20th when a new president is sworn into office. Regardless of who that person is, each and every one of us should hope for their success." That is a decidedly different tune than the one Trump has been singing. How do you think that message lands with other Republicans, especially those who consider themselves part of MAGA?
So, Corey, when I read that editorial, I was just trying to figure out exactly who Sununu was talking to. Who was his intended audience, right? There's virtually no undecided voters for president in Massachusetts. New Hampshire isn't really in play either. So why did Sununu write that? So I think his goal was to separate himself a bit from the hardcore MAGA supporters while still supporting Trump. And I think he's just trying to have it both ways.
All right, let's stay in New Hampshire. Joyce Craig, Kelly Ayotte fighting it out for governor. The race has become very competitive, negative, despite Ayotte getting endorsed by the very popular Chris Sununu, who we just talked about. Why is this governor's race so tight? So
New Hampshire, I think, Corey, is such a great example how actual real-life voters actually really vote. So party affiliation, it doesn't always play a role. A voter may choose the Democrat for president and a Republican for governor. It happens here in Massachusetts all the time, right? So New Hampshire is a successful state. Ayotte would be a continuation of the Sununu efforts. But New Hampshire cares about reproductive rights, and Craig is elevating that race to a national level. I think that's why people are still trying to make up their minds.
All right, somebody we've seen out there on the trail for Kamala Harris is Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey being a surrogate. How do you think the Harris campaign has used her, and do you think she did okay?
Yeah, I think she did great. Look, there's a lot of reasons for why Harris used Healey. One of the jobs Healey did was to be a stand-in for the prosecutor, Kamala Harris, right? Harris couldn't just keep saying she's prosecuted people like Trump. That would be a turnout, people who have committed fraud, sexual abuse. But Healey could, because Healey is a former attorney general. And like Harris, they've been at law enforcement, right? Healey has sued the Trump administration when she was AG almost 100 times, and the success rate, I think, is 77%. So when voters see a rising female Democratic governor who's a star, they also see someone who fought Trump and won, and that's an extension of what Harris has been saying.
All right, Sue, thank you very much. We appreciate it. I will see you later. Because tonight we have another live edition of At Issue. It starts at 7:30. Our political team gets you caught up on all of the local races, all of the ballot questions, and, of course, the race for the White House. It's 7:30 tonight right here on NBC10 Boston.